Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hadeen, former installation contractor and boutique store owner. We're coming at you this week with Reggie Burke of Bayview Flooring in Port Angeles, Washington, and we're going to be discussing how to craft a client experience that will elevate your business, separate it from the pack, and really make sure you are going above and beyond in what people expect from a flooring installation. I think that there's and maybe it doesn't need to be that different, right? Like, what is a client experience, right? What's the difference between an experience and an installation? What does it actually include? We're going to look at all of this and really hone in on what Reggie has been crafting over the last 2 years as he's been in the mastermind groups that I do. And it's been quite the journey to go from, it's just you're another Chuck in a truck to now he's essentially almost at a white glove service, and they got little booty dispensers that go in the house now. It's the whole way that the installation is presented has really changed, and we're gonna dig into that and show you what you can do in your business and how you can go above and beyond for your clients and really show them why your rate is worth the value that you're presenting, right? It's not just an apples to apples comparison and you're $1,000 more. It's an apple to like a Wagyu beef steak, and you want to be that Wagyu steak. So we're going to dig into that. First, I want to say thank you for joining us. Every week we are coming at you with another discussion to help you transform your business from where you own a job to where you are being more efficient, freeing up your time, being more profitable, and able to get back to the reason why you started your business, which is probably to pursue a hobby and do the things that you truly enjoy in life. Maybe it's hanging out with your kids. Maybe it's getting out in the boat and doing some fishing. I know, maybe a little hunting, things of that nature. I want to help you get there, and working on your business instead of in it is the way that's going to happen. You cannot get ahead by slaving away on the floor. You'll make some good money, but you're going to be stuck on the floor. And so we don't want that. We want to get you off of that and enjoying life. If you are interested in going beyond what's in the podcast, check out our mastermind groups, flooracademypod.com/mastermind, and you can learn more. Schedule a time to chat with me about them, and we will get into that. We take 5 business owners, stick them into a group, meet every other week so that you get some accountability. You get ideas from other business owners going through exactly what you're going through. And it is your place to brainstorm, shop, work up, debate about, and vent with business owners that are like you, that are wanting to move forward in their business and grow as an individual. And we got a quick word from a couple of sponsors, and we'll have Reggie introduce himself. If you're struggling to keep your schedule, forgetting to follow up with clients, are your books behind? Cronus Flooring Business Manager has the solutions you are looking for. Streamline your life, gain more freedom, and maintain control of your business. From scheduling to follow-up reminders, integration with QuickBooks, and producing quotes quickly, you can say goodbye to your business headaches. Visit cronosoft.com/academy today to schedule your demo for this all-in-one approach for flooring business organization. Cronus, fast relief for your flooring business headaches. Attention flooring professionals, elevate your craftsmanship with the finest tools and supplies from tiletools.com. From spacers to saws, we have everything you need for flawless tile installations. Plus, we offer top-notch customer service and fast shipping. As a special offer for Floor Academy listeners, use the code FA10 at checkout to receive 10% off your next order. Don't settle for less. Visit tiletools.com today and experience the difference in quality and service that professionals trust. Links are in the show notes. Make sure you go and check them out. Schedule that demo for the CRM and help you manage your business better, and then go and get a discount on some tools. And, your life will be better. Who doesn't want new toys? And when you're more profitable, you can afford those toys much easier. Reggie, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me. I'm excited to talk about all the fun stuff you've been working on, and I know you've got even more in the pipeline. Why don't you tell us who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. I've been a listener of the podcast for a few years now, and that's what got me into the mastermind group. So that thing first being said, I want to thank you for all that you've done for me and my business. So with
Thank
that
you.
said, I'll just get into a little cliff notes just to give the listeners some quick context of my background. I live in the Pacific Northwest in a very, very small town on the very tip of the country. I come from a big family, and my dad had 6 kids, and he has been a carpet installer since he was about 15. So he got into the trade at a very, very young age. He had a bit of a rough childhood, didn't have a father around, and his mom was always working. So he kind of had to raise himself with his brother. Uh, but thankfully, he got into a trade and got some good mentors to support him. And he ended up having 6 kids and worked his ass off for 60 years to support his family. And he's just been a sole proprietor his whole life. He's never had a
Mm-hmm.
helper. He's never had the ambition to really grow into a big store and have multiple crews going out. So he kind of kept to himself. He liked the low stress lifestyle, and he was always able to hit all of our ball games. He had a lot of free time and freedom to kind of live his life how he wanted to, and I really admired that. So
Mm-hmm.
growing up, he taught me and my brothers at a very young age the trade, and he didn't do it in a way that he was pushing it on us to where he wanted us to follow in his footsteps, but he wanted us to have a trade under our belt so we had something to fall back on.
Okay.
And in doing that, I did learn the trade and got pretty proficient at it. And then, like my parents encouraged me, I kind of went off on my own and I explored other endeavors, and I got my welding degree, went to college, moved out of the country, lived in Australia and New Zealand for a bit, and kind of just jumped from job to job. And I got to have a lot of different experiences. I've had probably 100 different jobs just because traveling month to month, I jumped from town to town and grab a new job. So it kind of gave me a unique experience.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and the most important thing I've learned actually from that is working for all sorts of different bosses. And I learned how certain bosses I would work harder for, and other bosses I had zero respect for, and
Mm-hmm.
I would cut corners, and it just taught me a lot about leadership and how
Yeah.
that ties so well into productivity. And I took a liking to that and wanted to become a leader and be able to encourage people to work hard and be productive and go that route. So when I got back from traveling, I I told myself from a very young age I didn't want to do flooring, but the money was good, and it was clean work, and I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to start my own business and be the author of my own life. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did, and that's when Bayview Flooring was born. So it was a pretty easy decision to make, as it could have been any industry. Whatever I was good at, I was going to start my own and at least make it a stepping stone to what I do later in life. But for sure wanted to start a business, and flooring was the industry I was good at. So
Okay.
Bayview Flooring was born, and ever since then, I've just been trying to grow and navigate my way through business with mentors and good coaches. And um, yeah, the mastermind group has been a huge help in that way.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to have you. Right. I love that you're there, ready to go, willing to. You're open to ideas, and you probably have been one of the best at implementing stuff. That when you're given suggestions or ideas, you really run with them, and it's awesome to see you implement them. That's where a lot of this client experience stuff has come from. Is it's all things we've discussed, and you actually take it and put it into practice instead of just being like, yeah, that's good. Like, okay, I'll remember that, and then nothing ever comes of it. So I want to kind
Right.
of
Well,
talk about.
yeah. Go ahead.
No, no, go.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's one of our core values is humility, is like being humble and being able to, take the back seat and learn from people and not be so arrogant and think you know everything. And I
Hmm.
think that's going to be one of the biggest drivers to success in any business. I mean, just being able to, swallow your pride and learn from people that
Yeah,
are farther along than you, for sure.
definitely. So I want to kind of dig into this. So Bayview Flooring is formed, right? Your father brought you up, trained you, worked with you. You learned from him, but he wasn't really, like you said, he never really did the whole like I have employees things. I have an apprentice. I'm
Hmm.
going to bring them up. But I don't know. We've been working together for like a little over 2 years, I want to say. And so, how long? When did you establish Bayview? And how much of the work was, if I remember correctly, it was pretty much like 100% subcontracted work at
Hmm.
first, and it's been a slow change to get out of that. And I want to say you're probably like it's 70-30, 80-20 of your own work versus subcontracted work at this point.
Yeah, good question. So when I first started, right before COVID, like a month before COVID happened, I was probably about 70 to 80% working out of stores, and then the occasional side job would come up. Someone would hear about me and hire me
Mm-hmm.
directly. But most of my work was through the stores, or jobs that my dad couldn't get to, and he'd pass along, things like that. But in the last few years, and I wish I had a better, I wish I had like a longer track record so I could really dive into the numbers of this. But as of right now, it's almost completely shifted to where I have 0% jobs coming from stores. I've completely eliminated the need to work through stores, and I'm about 70% referrals and word of mouth, which is pretty high,
Mm-hmm.
compared to what I was doing, or compared to maybe what other people are doing in my area. But I think the main reason that it's mostly referrals and word of mouth is because of the white glove experience. Like, we make it a point to make the experience so overwhelmingly positive that they 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 want to go tell people about it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've had products before where I bought something, and it's just blown my mind. Like, for the price, the value way outshot the price, and I have like a need to tell people about it. I'm like, you guys are missing out. You need to go buy this. It's way too cheap. It's The value is way
Mm-hmm.
over evaluated. You know what I mean? And I want to be that service. I want people to think of Bayview Flooring and want to shout it from the rooftops. So whatever we have to do, to get them to think that way, we're going to do it.
Which is a great attitude. I think that's something that's often overlooked is you're talking about value, and I've talked about it on the show before. And I think maybe an easy way to do this is knowing that it's typically a male audience, or at least male dominated audience, and we're probably most of us are probably into video games. What a AAA title's like $70 right now. Usually, you're not going to go spend $70 on the video game if you don't
Mm,
think you're going to get more than $70 of value in it.
right.
And why that doesn't translate into how you think about selling a tile installation or a carpet installation, I don't understand. Right. And so I
Mhm.
think we're like, oh, I'm just an installer. And then, oh, the going rate's this. Man, I don't
Yeah.
care I don't care. I don't.
I hate when people say the going rate.
Like, I don't care what the going rate is, right? I'm going to
Hmm.
go push the limit and be like, I want to craft something that you think this is the hottest thing and nobody else can do it like me, when everyone may be doing it like me. I just found a different way to sell it that says, hey, look at
Hmm.
all this fun, cool, attractive, sexy stuff you get with it. And I'm 500 or $5,000 more. And they're like, yeah, I got to have it. That's what I'm
Hmm.
looking for, right? That's part of the experience, is like you can not only sell it for more, but you're able to provide more. And so let's look at, like, what was it like, when it was 70-80% work from stores? Where was your attitude at?
Hmm.
What were you providing for the store at that point versus kind of what you feel you're providing now?
Right. Good question. So at first, when I was working for the stores, my attitude was deliver an industry standard product, and that was pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
Just give them what they paid for, install the flooring to manufacturer specifications, and get my check and get out of there. That was pretty much it, because the stores didn't really allow for I say allow, but because they were basically setting the price, which is dog shit. But I don't know if I can swear on here, but
Sure you can. You're good.
um, yeah. So it was a totally different mind shift when I started working outside the stores, and I can kind of name my price
Hmm.
because it kind of gave me a little wiggle room to be able to offer the more high end white glove service kind of uh, additions to the install that most people, if not anybody, is in my area is providing.
Hmm. So one of the first things you worked on is I had this idea of like I need to make a pamphlet that details out my experience, and that was something that we were talking about with you as you were developing this idea of like how do I elevate this? How do I get people to pay more? How do I get people more interested in my service? How do I get them to remember me instead of the other two guys that came out and quoted? And it was like, well, what kind of materials can we leave behind? What can we talk about
Mm.
that we do? And so you ran with this pamphlet idea and created a trifold. So what's contained within the trifold that you leave behind when you go and do a consultation at this point?
So basically, the trifold is I got it right here. It's just our name in the front with a picture and our logo, and then you open it up, and basically what it is it tells the client exactly how to prepare and what to expect when they're getting new floors. Because most people call a contractor and they're looking for prices and ideas on projects, but they've never actually had a contractor come do their flooring before. A lot of times it's the first time buyers and they have no clue what to expect. They don't know
Mm-hmm.
how invasive it's going to be. And so this brochure kind of just outlines what we'll be doing, how to prepare to make sure we have a smooth process and it'll be stress free with all these things implemented. So the first section is the day before we come, and that basically just explains, get everything moved furniture wise and clear out all areas of miscellaneous halls. Make sure the home is accessible. If you're not going to be home, leave a key out for us. Just things like that I don't want to have to explain to them in person because a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
forget things and they're overwhelmed with all the information. So you put it in a nice, easy to digest pamphlet like this. And what I do is when I go in to do their estimate, I'll have them walk me through the house, give me a little rundown of what they're thinking and their ideas, and then while I go around and measure, I'll give them this pamphlet and I'll say, so here's a little brochure of what to expect when we come. Feel free to read through this and ask me any questions if you have any. And it kind of does two things. One, um, it allows me to get them on the same page as far as how the whole process works, and it also outlines some of the extra things that we do as
Mm-hmm.
far as as far as bringing more value to the customer. So, for an example, one of the sections in here it says, once the old flooring is removed and the subfloor has been cleaned, uh, Bayview Flooring sprays a natural disinfectant cleaner over the entire work area to kill bacteria, reduce unwanted odors, and ensure your peace of mind. Now, it probably doesn't do that much. It's a vinegar based solution that we make. It's got essential oil, so it smells nice, and we definitely spray it on affected areas. But
Mm-hmm.
it's more of like an optics thing because the client will see that, and it's just an added layer of peace of mind, I guess, when you take all the dirty carpet out and it's dusty and it's stinky, and it's just an added value that we provide for them at no cost, and putting that on the pamphlet is a great way to show them that value because most people will never even see that, and then it's pointless almost.
Correct. You could, and this is kind of what I was hinting at earlier, right? There may be other companies that are doing things like this, but they're not talking
Mm-hmm.
about it, and so then
Right.
nobody knows. And I love the one of the reasons why I love the pamphlet idea, and I'm so stoked that you did it, and I know it's working for you, and we can get into that too. But it's we overwhelm people when we go into their home. right? In 30 minutes, an
Yes.
hour long consultation, you are giving them, when you're actually trying to sell on value, when you're educating people on like, here's an industry standard, here's why we have to do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to ensure this, that, the other thing. It's so much information. They can't remember it all. And then they get 3 quotes and they don't remember who said what. With your pamphlet, they have something to go back to, and they can read through it again and be like, oh yeah, Reggie, that was like, he was awesome. He came in, he gave us all this stuff. I remember him talking about that. Yeah. Okay. Now I know what's going on. And now I know why, you know, his quote's a little bit more expensive, but man, look at all these extra things he's doing. He's going to, you know, disinfect and deodorize our floor from where the dog had the accident, and nobody else talked about doing that. Maybe it doesn't do a whole lot, but again, I think you're right with like what it looks like, the care, the attention to detail, the fact that you're even trying to do something as opposed to just walking in, ripping everything out. Maybe you sweep and then you know, that kicks up a ton of dust. You're not doing anything.
Maybe.
And yeah, maybe. You know as well as I do. There are guys, they will just, man, heck, they'll leave the old padding down and just go over the top of it. So, it takes all kinds, folks, all kinds. But you know, I think it's just being able to differentiate yourself and show what's happening. You know, like I said, leaving it behind. I know that you had a client that you went back. It was like a month later, like after you first developed it, and you finally went back to do the install, and yet it was still out on her countertop, open. Like she'd been reading it constantly. And I'm sure that's not the only time.
Out of her house, and they've all seen it. Right.
Well, I think that's a huge point too.
The responses I get once I started the brochure have been nothing what I've expected. You know, it just goes to show you how little of effort other contractors are putting into their presentation. You know, their delivery. You're not just going in to measure their house and give them a price. It's an experience. Is right off the bat from the very first phone call. It is an experience that you have to walk them through and hold their hand, and it's fun. It's I love it. The responses I get from the brochure are crazy. A lot of people, I've had multiple people ask me if we're like a franchise, and they're like, where's your stores at? I haven't seen any. It's like, yeah, I'm a one man guy with an apprentice. We're just everywhere. We just look like we're big, but we're pretty a small man operation.
That's exactly what you want, though, right? I want to appear bigger than I am so I can get there. I want, the fact that they're asking if you're a franchise, right? Like, hey, you're bringing in this attitude, this presentation that nobody else is having. It's polished. It looks professional. And so it's not, like I said, it's not chucking a truck showing up, right? And there's a beer can and 3 packs of cigarettes spilling out, and there's like 18,000 invoices on the dash, and yesterday's fast food bag and whatever. Like, you know, there's a difference in how it all comes together, and the fact that you're talking about like it starts from the initial phone call and how you treat people, the fact that you pick up when they call, right? You're not kicked to voicemail. You're not ignored. You're not getting back to them 3 days later. It starts on that initial contact of, hey, we're here. We're happy to service you. Let us know what you need, and we'll get that scheduled and taken care of. And then we're going to communicate with you throughout the process. We're going to give you the information you need. And again, I think that's where that pamphlet comes in. I know one of the other things you have on there is you talk about your warranty and how long you'll back a floor, which again, I think most people have warranties, but they're never mentioned. They don't bring it up. They don't talk about it. And that's when you can make people aware of it. All of a sudden it's like, oh, well, he has that 5-year, 10-year lifetime warranty, whatever it is. And everyone else is just, you know, maybe they're only talking about a 1 year. They're not bringing it up. You know, who do you want to go with? Oh, you know, he is $1,000 more, but he's going to guarantee the floor for 10 years. Well, duh. Right. Like, give me that one. Duh. What else is in there? I know there's a couple other things.
Well, that's the thing. It's I'm not really. Yeah, we go over the warranty. We go over the final walkthrough that we do to make sure
Hmm.
everything's exceeded your expectations, not just met them. We go through the inspection. So we have a tab on our website that will show you and describe to you what a properly installed flooring looks like
Mm.
and what to look for if it's not properly installed. So I have on my pamphlet, I say, look over every aspect of the job and make sure everything looks perfect. If you can hop on our website and use our free guide to make sure your floors were installed correctly and to industry standard, and then it leaves a link to our free guide. And it's just something that, I mean, probably no one has even looked at it yet, but it's going to be one of those things where eventually it'll pan out to work for the right person, and one person is that's going to be the deciding factor for them. Oh, they
I'm,
have a guide to so they know that they're installing correctly, so
mhm.
they must be established, they must know what they're doing, and that means a lot to people.
Well, and they can use it even if they don't go with you. Like they can use it to hold someone else accountable, which I think is huge,
Right.
right? Like, hey,
Yeah.
I have this thing. They say it should be done this way. Why aren't you doing it this way? They cited these professional organizations as the standards. Why does it look this way? And I think that's huge, right? They can still even if they don't go with you, like it's still in their head. One of the best reviews I ever got for Illustrious Hardwoods was left by a guy that I couldn't service, but I spent like 30 minutes with him on the phone, and he was like, this guy knows what he's talking about. He was able to point me in the right direction. He had great information and knowledge. So like, although I couldn't use him for what I wanted to get accomplished, like anyone that chooses to go with his services is going to be well taken care of. And I was like, man, you didn't have to do,
Wow.
like, went out of his way, right? To like, it's hard enough to get
Yeah.
people to leave a review as it is, but then I didn't even ask it. He went and did it just because he was so impressed with what I was able to provide him. So I think that's one of those things where, like, again, like maybe your clients aren't using it to hold you accountable, but maybe there's some people that decided not to go with you and they use it to hold someone else accountable. And so
Mm.
it still keeps you top of mind, right? They may not, sometimes maybe they can't afford your service, so they may not go with
Right.
you, but their their cousin could, and they're gonna be like, man, you should go with this dude, he's awesome.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because we know we're not going to be for everybody. We're not going to fit everyone's budget.
Hmm.
We target the higher end clients, and so there's a lot of people that come to us and they're just like, yeah, we can't afford that price, and that's totally fine. I get no There's no personal feelings about it. A lot of my friends, it's a small town, so a lot of my friends and family will contact me looking for
Hmm.
a flooring project, and sometimes they're looking for a deal, and unfortunately, if I were to give everyone in a small town a deal, I would go out of business very fast. So I have to tell them that and tell them why we are priced the way we are. And a lot of times they go with
Hmm.
someone else, which is totally fine. And, that's business.
Yeah, there's a client for every budget, and there's a contractor to meet that. So what
Mm-hmm.
else we got going on? We got you developed out the pamphlet, and then I think one of the next things you did, which was we caught on to it. Was it Aaron that showed it, or were we already talking about you did the runners, which I think is totally awesome. Especially, like, I get it because you're a carpet guy. I'm not. You're generally more worried about protecting that kind of stuff. But maybe it was when Aaron brought it up one of the times. She had an AC company come, and they had all the runners with their logo on it. And I know you've got runners with the Bayview
Mm.
logo on it now. But
Yes.
I think that's something that just it's so over the top to like go in someone's house and
Mm-hmm.
lay down, like, one, you're laying down runners, but then they're actual rugs, and then they have your logo on them. Like
Yes.
it seems ridiculous,
They're
but
not
what
cheap.
do they
They're like
call?
$500 a piece.
Okay, so you got a couple of them, I assume, right? Like two or three, you picked them up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. I
but
got three of them, and we lay them in the high traffic areas, and it really sets a precedent to the customer that we care about their belongings, even on their used floor. Like before we even tear it out, we'll
mhm,
throw down runners on their carpet that we're about to pull out. Like it doesn't. There's no point in doing it, but we want our name everywhere. We want brand
mhm,
awareness throughout the house. Every tool is marked with our logo, a sticker. We got air purifiers throughout the house in every room with our big logo on it. And even if we're not sanding, making a bunch of dust, we're bringing them in just to show them that we care about the air quality. And uh, we service a lot of older couples, and so they're
mhm.
they're concerned about the air quality and the dust that gets made, and so air purifiers are a huge way to show them that we give a shit.
Yeah, no, I think that's another good one. It's finding an air scrubber, air purifier. They're a couple $100 each. They generally going to be able to process
Mm,
like a living room that you're in or something. Having one, two, maybe three that you can spread around the house if you're doing a larger project. Like it's just something that goes that extra
mm,
mile, especially when people expect
yes.
construction to be dirty. I get it.
Mm,
They're not going to complain if there's like a thin layer, even a thick layer of dust a lot of times. Like I tell people with the dustless tile removal that I was doing, hey, look, you're going to like there's going to be like nothing. They're like, "No, no, no, it can't be that clean." They're like,
mm,
my house, I already know my house is going to be a mess. I talked to everybody. It's like, no, 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 I promise you, like, it's going to be clean. If it's not, like, I'll hire a cleaner for you.
yeah.
And then I get it done and they're like, oh my gosh, like, you didn't lie. I was like, why would I lie to you? Like, there's nothing I'm going to get out of lying to you. Like, I'm telling you, this is the
Yeah.
service. Like, don't worry about it. Right. But if you were
Hmm.
to add in a couple of, air scrubbers to that, it would be even cleaner. And then people will be like, oh my gosh, like, I expected it to be so dirty, but now there's
Yep.
no mess, right? It's being respectful of their home, and I think that goes a long way in people's eyes of, oh wow, look at all the care they're bringing, and then being able to talk about it. That's again, separating yourself up front of things you do differently, even if other companies are doing it in your area. They're probably not talking about it, and you are, and then everyone's like, oh well, he's so different.
Hmm.
Are you? I know you are. I know compared to your area, you are different. But like, there are places where like that's the standard, but nobody talks about it. Especially with like
Hmm.
with sand and finish guys, like dustless sand and finish is the standard now. Pretty much everyone's using vacuums and not really using the bags on the machines as much. But not everybody advertises it. They just they know I am. Do
Yeah,
they? Do
exactly. Don't
they?
assume.
I
Don't assume.
scream it from the look. I do it this way. It's super clean. I'm gonna,
Yeah.
nothing's gonna happen. So, let me interrupt us real quick here, and then we'll dig back into this because there's even more things that you've been changing.
Yeah.
What do we got? We got a
Yep. We got some stuff, more info for you.
couple of quick words. The rumors are true. GoBoard Pro is available and approved for steam showers. GoBoard Pro was developed with the pro contractor's ease of project workflow in mind. Panels sized at 48 by 64 inches will limit waste on your project. They'll require less seams, meaning less sealant is needed. And best of all, you can space those beautiful blue GoBoard fasteners out to 12 inches without the need for washers. Visit www.jm.com/GoBoard for all the product details. Schluter Systems is all about providing products and systems that ensure beautiful tile installations. With an emphasis on education through their nationwide workshop programs for professionals, the goal of the company is to offer innovative solutions to the tile industry that solve common challenges faced by installers. Their product line includes over 6,000 items, including tile trims, uncoupling membranes, floor heating systems, waterproof building panels, shower systems, and thin-set mortars. For more information or to register for a workshop, visit schluter.com. In fact, Reggie came to Phoenix to do a Schluter workshop with his apprentice. And so he paid to fly down here, and then they were able to go do some other stuff, well, after the workshop. But, he got a hotel paid for a couple days while he was
Yeah.
in Phoenix.
It's
Like,
basically a free vacation.
they're going to take great care of you. So even if you're not Reggie's not even doing tile, not yet. He's going to.
No.
He's going to get into it. And then another thing, like I got there in my dad's house that I'm remodeling, I put in Dietrich heat, and I got the fancy thermostat that's like connects to all the, the Alexa and the Apple Home Kit and all of that. And you get a really cool, like, it's above and beyond. They give you the little microfiber cloth to keep that like glass panel clean. I thought that was a really nice touch. Like, it's just, again, like if we're going to talk about customer experience and value, they give you this like super duper shiny screen, and then the minute you touch it, it'll leave like a fingerprint. So when you need to go like clean it up, they gave you the tool to do it. You don't even have to go searching for it. I thought that was pretty nice. And then being a camera guy, I was like, oh, I need that for my camera gear. Like I want a big Schluter microfiber cloth. So now I'm just dorking out. But Hey, it all ties in. Let's see. So Reggie, you implemented the pamphlet, you got the rugs, and you're doing that. I think the next thing you did, was it the baskets?
The gift baskets. Yep. That
Tell
was
me
a
about
huge one.
those.
Okay. So we have a sheet, right, where it shows us if we're doing a job that's under 500 square feet, you get a small gift box. If you're doing any project that's over 500 square feet, you get a large gift box. And what that does is at the end of every project, we present them with a Bayview box, we call it,
Hmm.
which in the box is a lot of merch because obviously brand awareness is huge for us. It's a bunch of stickers, coasters. There's some koozies. Everything's with our logo on it. We got our pamphlet in there. We got some business cards and a T-shirt with our logo, and that's just the merch side. So all that aside, we throw in some practical things for them to actually use, like we give them a small bag of furniture felt pads and we tell them, hey, use this on the bottom of your furniture so it doesn't scratch your new floors, showing them that we care about the aftercare as well,
Hmm.
not just getting our check and getting out of there. Then we give them a microfiber Swiffer, which we have found is the easiest, simplest way to maintain and clean your LVP laminate, your floors with
Okay.
a bottle of our in-home cleaning solution, which is just a vinegar based, no chemicals, natural cleaning solution that we make in house. We give them a bottle of that, and we give them what else was there? There's there's a small little. It's a small card basically that I had my assistant make, and it's just got our logo on it, and it says how to clean your vinyl plank floors.
Okay.
And it's just a very, very simple step by step, 3 steps, pictures, easy to read, easy to digest, and it's just something that they're gonna hopefully hang on to,
Hmm.
hang on their fridge or anywhere. But it's got our logo on it, and so when they need to use that or reference it, they're gonna be thinking of Bayview every time.
The
And so the gift box, when we give that to them, it's the whole point of it is to leave a really, really good impression at the end, because I've learned through I actually read this in a book, Chris Voss book, Never Split
Mhm.
the Difference. He says the last impression is a lasting impression, and it's it's making sure that the last thing they think about is like an overwhelmingly positive experience, and like presenting that gift box to them after they see their brand new floors in their home completely transformed is like the icing on the cake. And that's when we ask for our review, when they're
Mhm.
like head over heels, they're amazed that even a contractor would even think about giving gift boxes. um, we ask for a review then, and it's been a really, really positive result.
Well, that I believe, and it's you're giving them something that's practical, right? I think you made the point that you're giving out swag, which has brand awareness attached to it, right? Here's a hat, here's some koozies, here's this stuff, right? Go wear it around. Oh my gosh, Bayview took such good care of me. Like, right? They just want to brag about your
Mm-hmm.
company, and
Mm-hmm.
then it turns into, well, now you can care for your floor as well. Like, you can protect it and you can care for it. I think there's something in having the cleaning solution available, and then it's an in-house product. So, oh, Reggie, I ran out. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to just give them a bottle, it's, well, okay, that'll be $20, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
can start kind of this recurring revenue stream as you continue to have more and more clients. And they're like, part of that warranty package is you can build in that, hey, if you're not using our cleaning solution, warranty null
Mm-hmm.
and void. And
Mm-hmm.
it's all kind of linked together to not only protect yourself, but keep you top of mind, keep people coming back, staying in front of them. So I think that's, and it's one of those things where I don't know that people ever really connect that, like, you charge them for the gift basket, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they
they're
don't.
not thinking about it. Like, they're just like, oh my gosh, it's so nice of you to give me all
Yeah,
this stuff. Like,
right.
no, no, no. It's
Little do they
built
know
it's
they
built
paid for
into the correct. Like,
it.
it's built into the
You bought this for
cost,
yourself.
but it just doesn't feel that way. It's nice to receive presents. And so I think that people are just like, oh my gosh, like you care about me. Thank you.
Well, think about it. If you get it's your birthday or something, and someone gives you $100 bill, or if they take that $100 bill and they go spend it on something that you like and you're going to use, it's a lot more heartfelt, and you're gonna think a lot better about it. It's just
Definitely.
shows kind of who we are and what we feel about our clients.
Correct. Well, and I think that's the difference, right? Is the reason I like calling them clients is I've probably gone over the definition before, but like a client is someone that you take under your protection, right? As a professional, like I'm there to be your guide. I'm there to protect you from the things that can take advantage of you or hurt you or make you have a bad time with whatever it is we're doing. And when you define customer, it's transactional, and it's, you know, I'm going to give you something in exchange for something else. And it doesn't work for me, right? I don't want it to be transactional. I want my business to be very relational. And that's what you're building, right? Is like, hey, here's a present, right? You took care of me. I want to take care of you. I want to build a relationship with you beyond where we're at now and like keep this thing going down the road years from now. I want you to think of me. And so I think it's just a great way to do that. And it's very simple. It's not super expensive. What's your large gift basket cost you all in? It's got to be like under $80.
It's actually probably close to $100.
Okay. Well, you're doing like a custom
Which
basket or box, or like your
we
guy
actually
is
make
making
the
you
boxes. Like right, yeah, we'll spend a whole day cutting and staining and building the boxes because they're like $15-$20 at the store. So I just spend a day and we make a ton of them and have them just ready to go.
Okay.
And then I have my assistant put all the cute stuff in it and make it pretty, and she gets all festive with it and throws little fake plants in there. I don't know. She goes to Michael's and just goes nuts with the arts and crafts, and it's awesome because I have zero time for that, and I'm not artsy and craftsy. So
Yeah.
she's way better at it than me, and she likes to do it. So
I think what else we just talked about. I don't know. You may not have done this yet because I don't know if you finished up a project and had the right one to test this out on. I know in our last meeting, I think we just talked about throwing in some flowers for the missus.
Yes. And I told her about that too, and she thought that was a great idea.
Okay.
We can do some real flowers. She's kind of just been doing the fake ones from Michael's, which looks good and they're festive. But I like the bouquet idea for really.
Haven't done it yet, but there you go, folks.
Haven't done it yet, but it's in the works.
What's in the grand scheme of a project, right? If we're talking like you're on a project 3 to 5 days, you're probably a couple grand in labor if you're selling this thing yourself. I got a deal with my local flower shop. Every second Tuesday of the month, my wife gets a bouquet of flowers made up. It's like I told them, you know, you got a $60 budget. I'll come pick it up the second Tuesday of every month. You decide what goes into it. I don't want roses. I don't want any, like you make it for me, right? This is your time to be creative instead of getting the Teleflora at like automated thing that comes from like 1-800-Flowers and you get to be creative and actually like design a bouquet. And they love it. And every month it's different. They use all the seasonal stuff. It turns out great. I love my relationship with them. The shop's almost 100 years old. Family business, like 4th generation at this point. Super fun to work with them. But again, if I was still running on the retail side of things, could I find $50? What would Mrs. Jones think when I give her a gift box and a bouquet of flowers? And now her brand new home is set off with her flooring, and she's got this lovely bouquet that's like sparkling on her island or countertop somewhere or her kitchen table. How stoked is she gonna be, right? And what did it really cost me? And then you get that, if you can get that glowing 5-star review, like, yeah, I'm looking at what can I kind of get out of it, but I also want to do it because I enjoy, like, I want to make people happy. Like they did a lot for me. I want to do something back for them. And then, you know, what's that review going to look like? What are they going to think about? You leave that, like you talked about, leave that lasting impression. So
yes,
that goes in on that. What else? You're doing booties now, which I love. I hate booties, man. They are so annoying. Are you annoyed by them yet? It's been a couple weeks of the booties.
No, here's why. And I used to be the same way because they're such a pain in the ass to get on and off, and they always are ripping, and I got to walk outside to get a tool, and I got to put a whole new fucking set on. So it's been a pain in the ass. I've always liked the idea, but it just hasn't been practical. So what we did was we bought a booty dispenser, and it sounds funny, but it's literally just a box, and you preload the booties. They come in like a packs of 50 or 100, and you self-load the booties into this box. And then what we did is we had a sign made up on Vistaprint. Basically, it just says Bayview Flooring Work Zone. Please remove your shoes or use this booty box. And it kind of shows them how to do the booty box. It's so simple. You insert your foot, press down, and then lift it back up, and it literally puts the booty on your shoe for you. And it's hands-free. It takes half a second, and you just go left foot, boom, right foot, boom, and then you got a brand new set of booties, and it's so simple. And I mean, they see you walking around in those little blue booties, and they know that, oh, these guys really, really care about tracking in dirt and making sure that we get what we paid for.
Again, it's just that client experience is through the roof. It's little details, right? What no one else is doing it, and you're over here going above and beyond. And again, it comes
there's
down
so
to
many little details, and they're not one of them is like a huge game changer, but you put them all together into one experience, and it like blows them away because they're so not used to contractors, giving a shit about anything outside of the industry, like outside of the actual trade itself.
Definitely. It's just all of it adds up slowly but surely. And again, it's going to come down, right? Oh, Reggie was $3,000 more, but did you look at all the care he's given us? He's wearing those booties. He's got the runners down. He's got the air filters going. Like, yeah, you got to be more expensive, right? You got to be able to pay for all this stuff. But
Right.
again, like, okay, I've invested the time, I've crafted an experience. It's like, okay, so you can go to, I don't even want to know what a Disneyland or World ticket costs these days, but it's the happiest place on earth, supposedly, and maybe it still is. Or I can go to like the local, there's a place here in Phoenix called Castles and Coasters that's on, like a not so great part of town, but it's definitely a lot cheaper. It's local. I don't have to stay in a hotel. I don't have to travel to get there. The roller coasters aren't as exciting. The park's not as exciting. They don't have themed characters wandering all over, right? Like the experience I'm going to have at one versus the other is nowhere near it. So is the ticket price of Disneyland or World justified? Probably, especially if I took my kids. They would, right? They would lose their minds. Oh my gosh, there's Belle. There's, whatever. And so I think that's what you're doing is you're crafting your Bayview experience in a way that says, I care about you and your home. I want to respect it, and I want to give you more than we don't do flooring installations here. We are proud of what we do. We and we're gonna do our very best to give you the best end result, and we're gonna do it in the most respectful way possible. Let's see. What else you got going on? You got there's booties, you just got an assistant. Is she working on anything new? Is she developing something?
So yesterday she made a half-page ad for my nephew's high school football team. They just put out a program at all the games, and I sponsored an ad, which probably is not a huge needle mover as far as the marketing goes, but I like to support local teams and get my name out there that way too. So she just worked like all night. She was sending me pictures at like 11 o'clock last night. Like, how does this look? Do you think I need to change this? Like, she just works tirelessly, and she really wants to make Bayview Flooring she wants to make it look like a established, presentable business that people can look at and not be nitpicky about price. They just want to look at it and say, I want that. I don't really care what it costs. I want Bayview Flooring experience.
Well, I think that's the difference. You crafting this client experience separates you from owning a job and really treating flooring installations like a hobby, right? Oh, I can make money at it. Like I'm good at
Hmm.
it. I can own some tools and I can go and do it during the day. And then I can, no offense to your dad, but it's kind of more of a hobby, right? Like he goes and he does it. It
For
supported his
sure.
family. It paid for, 6 kids to do what they wanted to do. And much respect to that.
Hmm.
He did very well for himself, but it was never going to
Hmm.
be this thing that he could walk away from. He can sell, you really want a
Right.
business. And so you're crafting this thing to go above and beyond. And that's the difference of how do you get to the next level? Well, you looked at what other service-based companies that are big are doing
Hmm.
and started doing it. And I think that's the difference is everyone's like, "Oh, I hate big business." Man, big business only got big because they started doing the things that like other big businesses do.
Yeah. They stopped wanting to be a small business.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
got to
for sure.
look at what somebody is doing that's successful and go emulate it, right? You're not doing anything crazy over here. You're like, oh, that business does that. I really like that. How can I incorporate that into mine? Oh, they do that kind of
Hmm.
thing. Let me get that. And that's the difference. Is like it's not a smoke and mirrors thing. It's not a deceitful thing. You're just taking things you
Right.
like and implementing them, and you can take that
Hmm.
from anywhere, right? I think that's what a lot of us miss is we're like, oh, I got to look at other installation companies. Man, if you go down to the like local donut shop and they're doing something cool, steal it. Who cares?
That's
That
so funny. I do that often. Everywhere I go now, now that I'm a business owner and entrepreneur, everywhere I go, I think to myself, like, why did I buy that? Like, what made me buy this product? And
mm,
I'm like, oh, it's shiny. It's got a clean logo. Like the presentation was great, or it's just always thinking about things like that. Looking at signs on the street, what could I do different to mine? And it kind of just
mm-hmm,
never shuts off. But the thing I've learned is while I'm doing these customer experience things, I I know I'm not going to see the I know I'm not going to see the fruits of my labor early, and and so I'm thinking in a very long term, like decade
mm-hmm,
span, and when I look at it that way, I can see that it's all worth it. But if you look at it day to day, you're like, oh, I'm spending all this extra money to make these gift boxes and doing all this extra stuff that sometimes people don't even notice. But if you look at a longer time span, the longer horizon you look at, you can tell from people's reactions that it's going to pay out in the long run for sure.
definitely. Well, I think one thing that's been a big change is so what we didn't touch on, and I don't know how we left this one off because we're getting close to the end here.
Mm.
You do house cleaning now, not you personally,
Yes.
but you brought on a cleaner, and she goes in and she cleans the houses when you're done.
Hmm. Yeah. So basically, what we do is we let them know at the beginning that it's going to be a messy procedure, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
going to get ugly before it gets pretty. We're going to have your house torn up upside down. There's going to be some dust. We're going to take all precautions to minimize as much dust as we can, but it's a work zone, like it's a construction site. There's going to be some dust and dirt. And so at the end of it, when it's all said and done and everything's perfect, we did a final walkthrough, then we send in our cleaning crew. And most of people go, "What? Your cleaning crew?" And I say, yeah, when we're finished with our job, every project done by Bayview Flooring will be finished with a cleaning crew that comes in and gives it a final wipe down and a dusting, because we do make some dust and we want to make sure we leave the house cleaner than we found it. And most people are like, oh, how much does that cost? Does she charge hourly? And they just assume it's like an added on feature. I'm like, no, no, this is 100% complimentary. This is what you get for
Mm-hmm.
working with Bayview Flooring. And people are head over heels for that idea. I haven't had one person not react in like an overwhelming way. It's
Well, and
it's pretty
then
it's
I think
pretty wild to
the
watch.
nicest thing, the coolest thing that's come out of that is you came and you were like, people are requesting to be able to have her come back on a routine basis, like a
Yes.
regular cleaner. Like Kyle, like what do you think, guys? And you're asking the group, like, do I start a cleaning business? Like, what do I do? You know, and I
Right.
know you're not there
Yeah.
yet,
No.
but in the future, like it's totally a legitimate possibility to have like a subsidiary company that does just
Mhm.
cleaning on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis for different clients, and you would just build your clientele out through your flooring
Hmm.
business, right? I think
Right.
it was
Right.
totally wild that they had such a good experience with her that they were like, well,
Yeah.
it's probably not that
Can I
expensive.
hire
Like,
her back?
yeah,
Yeah,
like
I want her weekly.
what's it cost for her to come in every week, right? They're like looking at their budget and trying
Yeah.
to figure it out. Like, what a compliment, right? Like I think that's
Right.
the difference, right? That's where you're going to be able to really get on board with someone with you provided a great experience, because now they're like, how do I have them back in my home more often?
Mhm. Yes, exactly. And it's one thing, like I could probably clean it myself. I'd rather not, but I could have me and my apprentice go and wipe everything down and make sure it's clean. But the look of having like a whole separate cleaning department,
Mm-hmm.
like our cleaning crew, come in with all their equipment, and they're basically doing the same thing we're doing. They got Bayview gear. They're very respectful of the person's home. They're not setting anything on countertops, and they just have the same level of attention to detail and care as we do. And they see that and they're like, they have a whole cleaning department just to make sure they're leaving the house cleaner than they found it, and they're not
Mm-hmm.
even charging me for it. It's just a value
Yeah.
that people see and they're very willing to pay for.
Well, again,
Not pay for, but
yeah, but
pay
appearance
for.
wise, again, you're, you know, why can't I think of it? You're definitely punching above your weight with that,
Yes,
right? You're,
for sure.
I think we talked about it. We just talked about it in the first episode I did with Justin. So that was a couple weeks back from where we're at now, if you're listening to the podcast proper. And,
Hmm.
we were talking about, you can have vehicle wraps, and you can get yard signs, and like, where can you find a way to make it look like you're everywhere when you're not everywhere, when
Mm.
you're only one or two vehicles, and you're only, one, two, three, four people. How do you make it look like you're everywhere? And you're finding ways to do that. You're leaving pamphlets behind, you're having your gear worn by clients. I think if I was gonna do gear, and I could find a local shop that, I felt was reasonable enough, and the value was there, maybe, the owner of the house gets a personalized polo, right? You're gonna go have it embroidered with
Hmm.
their name on it, and now they're
Yeah, that's
part,
a
like,
cool
you're
idea.
part of the team, right? You
Hmm.
get to represent me. And so, again, I think it's little ways of having fun with it and making them feel special, and like that you really want to have that relationship with them, instead of it's very transactional. Like, okay, I installed your floor, where's my check? That's not
Right.
that's not how you're gonna last long term.
Hmm. I've actually, I can't even remember last time I've asked for. People have been just so eager to be like, when do you want to get paid? Do you want to get paid now before you finish? Here's a check before I even ask for it. It's a whole different experience for me actually,
Mm,
than when I was just doing it just to get the job done and get out of there. Like it
mm-hmm.
makes the experience for me better too. Me and my team, because people are just so over the top friendly. They'll get us anything. They're always offering to make us lunch, get us coffees, and it's fun. I love it, man.
What about when mistakes happen? Because we're all human, right? We all make mistakes. Something goes sideways on a project. Maybe you screw something up, forget about it. And I think that's where a lot of times, like, there's bad communication, a mistake happens, and the whole project goes off the rails, and now the client hates you.
Hmm.
And a lot, like, I would assume you're finding that a lot of this buys you, oh, it's okay, things happen, like, you're doing so many other things great, like, don't worry about it, right? Like, are you finding that if something comes up, it's like, the client is much more likely to let it roll off than make a
Yeah,
big
you
deal
know
about
what? I
it?
never really thought of that. I never thought of that, but now that you mention that, Kyle, it has made a difference in just people's demeanor about how they approach situations. If they, even if it's just a question like, "Hey, this piece kind of looks funny. Is this right?" People would just be so much nicer about it, about
Mm-hmm.
how they come to me and ask, instead of, "Hey, what's this piece doing here? Why does this look funny?" It's their whole energy is different by us taking control of the experience and making it so it's a positive one. We kind of have to be in the driver's seat and control where it goes, control the conversation, and
Mm-hmm.
and keep it in that positive light,
Definitely.
especially when mistakes happen.
What about with we hit on your obviously you're getting more reviews. We hit on that earlier, but what do the reviews look like now compared to before, right? I think everyone when they start out, right, it's like, oh, Reggie provided a great service. He's good at installs. Call him, and I'm like, oh, what does that really mean, right? But now you're giving them something
Yeah,
to talk about. So are the reviews more detailed now
they
than
are.
they were?
Yes, yes. People don't just come on and say, "Hey, Reggie and his crew did a great job." They will be specific about what we did. Because what I found is when people are leaving a review, they're basically working for you. Like they want people to see the review and then go buy as well. So they want to make it convincing. So they're telling other people all the extra shit we do that other contractors don't do. They're basically selling for me. They'll say Reggie and his crew were so amazing. They cleaned up after themselves. They used air purifiers. They were careful with our furniture,
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing all the selling for me. One thing I did notice though, I finally got my first negative review. I've had 50 reviews ever since I started asking for reviews. I've had 55-star ones, and I finally got my first 1-star review, and it was because I had let a project fall through the cracks, and I didn't get back to a lady in time, and she went with someone else, and
Mm.
so unfortunately, I got a bad review, so I'm down to a 4.9 on Google, but I did look at that situation as an opportunity, and so what I did was I got a gift basket prepared for her, and I sent it to her house, and I haven't heard anything back yet, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, it's little situations like that. I had a customer, or not a customer. I was working at a house, and the neighbor came over and complained about the noise. They said, "Oh, our kids are trying to sleep." It was midday. It was like
Mm-hmm.
noon, so I mean, I'm allowed to be working, but they came over and our kids are trying to take a nap, and they got school tomorrow. So I was wondering how long you're going to be. Okay, fine. I was nice about it. Sorry, I'll close the garage door, cut inside, whatever. But that night, I went to my assistant and said, "Hey, I need a gift box made up immediately." And so she had a gift box made up. I wrote a handwritten note about
Mm-hmm.
how sorry we are, and I put in just $100 gift certificate to a local burger shop. I was like, "Hey, take the family, take the kids out to dinner. We're sorry about the noise. It won't happen again." Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they called me. They actually called me later that day, and they were thanking me all up and down about how sorry they were for coming to me and complaining about the noise. I'm like, "Don't be sorry. Your kids were sleeping, but I just want to make sure we're on a good note." And so
Yeah.
now they have a gift basket with all my merch. They know who we are. They know we do flooring, and they know that we care about not only our clients but everyone around us. So I
Kill
think
them with
that
kindness.
said
That's
yes,
awesome.
exactly. I think that said a really good
Well, and
message to them.
I want to hit on the negative review, right? I think that's a place for you to shine, especially if she's legit, right? If you let it slip through the cracks, like I'd be happy to respond to that, right? I'd go on Google and I'd be like, look, you're 100% right. We screwed up. We own that. We apologize. That's
Mm-hmm.
not like this. We're actually we're looking to implement new systems to stay on top of these things and make sure it doesn't happen
Yes.
again. Sorry for sorry for the experience. But in all
Mm-hmm.
reality, having a perfect 5-star review rating is like one of the worst things for your business because studies show that
Yeah,
I
I
think it's
said
like
that before.
4.6 or 4.7 is the most ideal rating. And it is because we're human, right? We're going to make mistakes. We aren't
Yeah, for
made
sure.
like, and you said it earlier, right? We're not made to service everybody. That's not
Right.
who you are. There's certain people. And so it's not necessarily a bad thing that you're not a fit for everyone. So for
Hmm.
like 4.9, cool.
Yeah.
Right on. I'm not
Yeah.
for that one person, right? I definitely I screwed up and my company
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work for them. That's okay because I work for all these people and look at all the nice things they've said. And
Right.
I
Exactly.
don't I
Yeah.
think a
People
lot
see
of
that.
people put too much weight on like, "Oh, I got a negative review." And
Mm.
like, man, I wish I'd never got a negative review and I wish I would have. Like I really truly wish I would have gotten a negative review. So, congratulations, man. It's a good thing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Celebrate those 1-star reviews, folks. We're different around here at Floor
We'll go out and
Academy.
have a beer over it.
5-star reviews are overrated. Get some 1-stars.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Is that everything we got going on right now?
Yeah, can I just touch on one last thing I think that
Yeah,
gives a
definitely.
big differentiator to us. So one more thing that we do, and I think I'm pretty certain that no other companies in my area are doing, is we document the whole process with videos and pictures. And then at the end of the project, I have a video editor, content creator who will kind of put it together into an edit, and it'll show the whole process from start to finish. So so people really like, some people don't care. It's just a house they're flipping, but some people have been living in these homes for 20 years or even more, and generations, their parents have owned it. So they're curious, like, what is underneath that carpet? Sometimes we pull up carpet and it's a beautiful hardwood underneath, or like a really outdated vinyl that has some crazy colors that used to be popular in the 70s, or anything like that. People are just curious.
Yeah.
It's like it's their home, been walking on those floors for decades, and they want to see. And so we document it, we put it all in a video. And that also, what else that does is it shows them that we are using the right installation methods and the right procedures. Because if there's a case where a contractor is like, oh, you didn't use the proper adhesive, or you didn't do this right or something, I can be like, well, let's look at the video. You can actually see us using the correct adhesive. We did the installation properly, and it's all documented right here, and the customer has access to it. That we give them a little QR code, they scan it on their phone, and they have the whole video. And then with their permission, we post it on our social medias.
So I'm going to challenge you to get that to go a different way.
Okay, what do you got?
You give them the QR code and you encourage them to go share their home transformation with their audience.
Yep, writing that down right now.
Because that's where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck on that, is you're giving them something to show. Look at what happened to my home, and now they're promoting you instead of you promoting yourself, which is going to go a lot further.
Yeah, that's
going to be the ticket, is if you can get them to start sharing it and showing it off and being like, look, this company came, they provided me with this video, look at my house, it was so ugly and disgusting, and now it's this beautiful thing. Like, that's what you're looking for, right? Again, like, they're going to leave that 5-star review and then share the video, and people are going to be like, oh, how can I not go with this company?
Yep. I love that. I wrote that down. I'm gonna start asking them to start posting it instead of me. I'll probably post it also on our website and stuff like that. But
you still post it, but definitely encourage them to, like, hey, here's this thing. Like, let everyone see the transformation that your home just underwent.
Right. And how easy is it for just a scan of a QR code and then post to your Facebook? You don't hardly have to do anything.
Exactly. Cool. You've already got most of it down, right? Especially if they're scanning the QR code, you just add on that, like, share to Facebook button.
Yeah.
And bam,
definitely.
Done. It's automated. It's already there and happening.
Damn, that is good. That is good material. I like that.
This is why you come to the mastermind, folks. We idea the crap out of everything to find out, like, what. I
didn't know I'd be taking notes on this one.
You're like, he's interviewing me about what I've already built.
Yeah, what the hell?
No, we workshop stuff constantly. This is the fun part. How do we always evolve? How do we change it? How do we grow? I think that's gonna do it, Reggie. I super duper appreciate it, man. Again, like, I'm super stoked to see what you've accomplished over the past couple years. The eagerness to go, right? You're taking the notes, and I know that in like 2 weeks I can follow up with you and be like, I already had like 3 clients share their video, and people are commenting like I know that's what I'm gonna hear, and like I know you're not, like, you don't believe it, but you're gonna own Port Angeles. You're just. I know you're not looking to own like a retail shop at this point, but I think you're going to end up owning a retail shop. I think it'll be the biggest one in the area. Everyone's going to have nice rave reviews about it, and you're just going to find a way to provide like a super high-end experience for everybody in that area.
I love it. That's the plan. Just keep doing what we're doing and try to improve every home on the peninsula.
There you go. Awesome. All right, folks. That's going to do it for us this week. I hope you got a lot out of that. Again, I think this is something that's like super overlooked, and no matter what, you're providing an experience for your clients, but are you letting them know that you're providing an experience, and are you making a big deal out of it? Right. You don't necessarily have to wear booties, but like I made a big deal that when I started using sweeping compound on all the concrete slabs down here, that I would mention that I use sweeping compound. My scope of work included that I use sweeping compound. And if I had my pamphlet made up, I would include in there that I use sweeping compound to keep the dust down so that your house stayed cleaner. Like, it's stupid. I think it's what? It was like $25 for a bag that would do 1,000 to 1,500 square feet, depending on how you used it. Like, it's penny. It was like, it's pennies on the dollar to be able to add it. But the appearance, like, people were like, really? Like,
Right.
wow.
Such
Oh
a
my
good
gosh.
ROI.
Right. So it's how are you advertising the experience? And that's what's going to separate you from the pack. That's what's going to provide more value that, okay, yeah, again, you're a couple grand more. But how could they not go with you? Look at all this stuff they get. I have to do that. Like, I can't not do that. It's too good of a deal. It's like $5,000 worth of stuff for, slightly more than the other guys. That's what's going to do it. So take a look at the experience you're providing. Figure out how you can talk it up more. What kind of materials can you build around it? What else can you add? What can you implement? I know I'm happy to talk about it. I'm sure Reggie's happy to talk about it and workshop some ideas. Let's get a conversation going in the Floor Academy Facebook group on customer experience. Naughty Kyle. Client experience.
Oh, not customer.
I know, it came right out. Client experience. And, let's see what else we can come up with that we can provide. Make sure, again, if you want to check out the mastermind groups, flooracademypod.com/mastermind. Go visit flooracademypod.com in general. You can make sure you can subscribe to the podcast over there. We got links to anywhere you want to be. Check out the YouTube, subscribe on that. If you want to get the video versions, we did have some stuff we were pointing out on this one that's a little more visual. Check out the shop and, pick up a t-shirt. Profit is not a dirty word. We got that on a hoodie. That's a pretty sweet hoodie. Wear that around. Your business owning friends will love it. You can help support the show at patreon.com/Floor Academy. Even $5 a month goes a long way in helping me to continue to create this content for you, to help you go from owning a job to owning a business. And a couple of quick words. Hey, listeners, it's nearing that time again. Time to remind you that the International Surface event is returning to Las Vegas January 28th through the 30th, 2025. So mark your calendars now. Floor Academy podcast listeners will have the opportunity to register for free in September when registration opens using the promo code Kyle. You can't screw this up. This is like year 3 in a row. It's my name every year, just KYLE. Free registration, folks. Go get it. It's going to be awesome. Whether you're an installer, retailer, distributor, or serve in another capacity within our industry, attending TICE is a solid resource to expand your knowledge and networking base. You can also learn about the newest and industry-leading products coming to market. Stay up to date with the International Surfaces event page on Facebook or visit intlsurfaceevent.com. Ardex, providing innovative solutions for the construction industry for 75 years. From our game-changing tile and stone installation products to our easy-to-install TLT shower systems, we've got you covered. Our industry-leading moisture control products like Ardex VB100 ensure a solid foundation for our best-in-class lineup of self-leveling underlayments and subfloor preparation products like Ardex Feather Finish and Ardex Feather Finish XF. At Ardex, we are building tomorrow. To learn more, visit www.ardexamericas.com today. Links are in the show notes. Go check them out. Let the sponsors know that you heard about them from the show. That goes a long way, and helping me out lets them know that they're doing good with their marketing where it's working for them, and support those that support the industry. I'm not gonna be around without them. They do a lot for me. They do a lot for you. So let's make sure we're out there checking out what they all got going on. And again, Reggie, thank you for joining me. Thank you for your support through listening to the podcast, becoming a mastermind member, believing in what I got going on over there. And we will catch you all next week.